The worsening social problems of Nigeria and most of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa have been the single clearest manifestation of the continued misuse of their God-given resources by bad political leadership. Countries like Niger Republic and Chad on the edge of the desert, the situation has degenerated to the extent that access to basic resources like potable water is fast becoming a remote possibility. Same can be said of primary health care, children out of school, and the attendant exposure to crime and the new normal that is known as insurgency, or if you like, terrorism. Nevertheless, help keeps coming in the form of organizations like World Connect, a non-governmental organization which supports innovative ideas and local solutions for the challenges facing women and children in under-resourced communities worldwide. For more about the activities of this organization, we're now being joined by Pamela Nathenson, Executive Director, World Connect, and Omobolanle Adedeji, who is a project partner with the organization. Pamela and Bolanle, welcome to Omobola. Welcome to the morning show.
Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Well, Pamela, let me start with you. Would you like to tell us a little bit about World Connect? What do you do? What are the emphasis areas? And what has been the experience so far working in different countries?
Well, thank you for having me here. At World Connect, we believe that for far too long, the model of development has been inverted, and resources and ideas have been imported as opposed to finding and funding ideas that emerge from local innovation, local ideas, and local potential. So that's what we're trying to do. We're discovering hidden potential around the world and investing in it and seeing incredible leadership coming from local leaders like Omobolanle to transform their communities and make them better, more prosperous, healthier. And we've just started working here in Nigeria 2 years ago, and already in 2 years we've launched 52 projects.
That's great. Can you tell us about some of those projects that you've launched?
Yes, I mean, I would love for you to hear directly from Omobolanle about her project that we've already visited in Ibadan, but we've funded a tomato processing project, a cervical cancer screening program, maternal mortality prevention program, and a number of other businesses, healthcare programs, and education initiatives across the country.
Fantastic. Omobolanle, can you tell us about your project?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I'm a fashion entrepreneur, and I'd like to go back to the story so that we would understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, so I supported myself through university education with fashion, and then I believe that if I can, anybody else can if they want to. So coming from an indigent setting myself, I wanted to help people get out of lack. But for a very long time, I didn't know how to. But after my journey in the NGO world, I realized that an individual can actually make impact. And then
You are quoting Hubert Humphrey, former Vice President of the United States.
Yes. What amazes me is the ripple effect of an individual impact. And then when my project ended with Society for Family Health, I moved back home to Ibadan. And I started my fashion business with the purpose of empowering 1,000 youth. Because in Nigeria, we keep complaining about no job. And then every day, the rising youth unemployment doesn't look like it's going to end. So I decided to be empowering young people. The focus is on them. Out-of-school youth, and then educated but unemployed youth. And then that's how the vision for Fash for Dev started. Fash for Dev means fashion for development. So the goal is to empower 1,000 fashion entrepreneurs who would first of all employ themselves, and then minimum employ at least 2 people, others, and then from that we'll be able to create 3,000 jobs as a minimum. And so far, we've trained 19 people, and then with World Connect funding, we're currently training 12 women. And that's what we've done so far.
Fantastic.
Interesting. And that's great to hear because this is sort of a social business model that the organization is using. And it's interesting because Nigeria is the second largest recipient of donor aid in Africa. And that's worrying because we know the several adverse effects that aid has. So I want to come back to you, Pamela, and ask you what the real difference is between donor aid and social entrepreneurship and why a lot of organizations today are moving more towards social businesses and that structure and moving away from donor aid.
Well, I think if you just look at the example of Omobolanle's project, we gave her $850. And with that, she is training 12 people in her program. And from that, perhaps 20 to 30 jobs could come out of that. And her dream is to train 1,000 people with fashion businesses. And out of that can come many hundreds of jobs or thousands of jobs. And so, for such a little investment that is so cost effective and so cost efficient, we're getting so much traction. And it's also about the shift in the sort of perspective of the implementers, that it's their ideas that are being valued. And she had tried for 3 years, I believe, to raise funding for this vision. And we're the first people to invest in her. And that changes her perspective on what she can do and what's possible for her. And it changes the perspective of the community around her on her leadership and the possibilities of leadership and the hope and opportunity that could come from just $850.
Well, Pamela, still with you. I mean, Work Connect, I understand, is in about 42 countries. And you must have had, quite some experience from one country to the other. How do you deal with the issues of trust, considering the fact that that could be a major challenge in Africa?
Great question. So I should say that one of the ways that we work is through field partners in country. In the case of Omobolanle, we worked with the YALI, the Young African Leaders Initiative project, to find her. So already we're doing our due diligence through field partners on the ground. We are investing risk capital, small amounts of it, but relying on trusted intermediaries to mitigate that risk. And we have lost less than 1% of the $6 million we've invested over the years to fraud, waste, theft, because of the fact that we have this kind of risk mitigation strategy in place, but also because we trust. And that feeling of trust is empowering. And also, we require that communities match 10% of the funds we give with cash from the community. So they've got skin in the game too, and they don't want to see these projects fail.
That's really important.
Bolanle, I like your T-shirt. It says #Fash for development.
Yeah, it's a sewing machine.
So,
And it's my favorite color.
and then you say fashion beyond sewing.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so generally, for me,
Don't cover it up. Let our viewers see it.
okay, so based on my knowledge, I realize that most fashion businesses die with the founder in Africa. And then I've been thinking, what are we doing wrong? How are we doing it? Then I realized that most people who go into fashion start the business just to feed. And so when they die, the business die with them. So I'm looking at beyond sewing for people. We should have a business that outlive the founder, just like most fashion houses in the US, UK, and Europe. And so we don't just train these women how to sew. First of all, we go through a rigorous selection process because we don't want to train people who just want to learn fashion for fun. We don't want to train people who just want to eat now. So we're trying to raise fashion entrepreneurs who will have established business that will outlive them. So this is why we mean fashion beyond sewing. We are training them on entrepreneurship, how to be a great leader, how to sustain their business, how the business will run, regardless whether they are there or not. That's what I mean by fashion beyond sewing. It's not just about sewing and making money and eat now. It's about a vision. And then we're making sure all our participants have a successor in mind, even before they start their business. So this is what I mean by fashion beyond sewing. It's a business. It just has to be in the fashion industry, but it's a business that should live beyond the founder.
Thank you. I want to talk more about your model. How do you go about identifying your local partners here? And how did you, Omobolanle, how did you link up with World Connect through one of those local partners?
Okay, so I'm a Yali alumna, RLC. I was trained by Yali because I graduated from Obafemi Awolowo University. I studied demography and social statistics. I have little knowledge about business myself, and I'm trying to raise entrepreneurs. And I have little knowledge about entrepreneurship myself, so I started looking for opportunities around that train people. And then luckily for me, I found Yali, and I applied, and I was selected. And we went through training, and I went to Ghana for the training. And then it was a mind-blowing experience for me. And then from Yali platform, I met a lot of people also. And then one of the people I met told me about a World Connect application, and I applied. And I just applied like I've applied for several other opportunities, and I'm always getting rejection all the time. That even when I got World Connect mail, I wasn't really happy because I wasn't sure whether it's going to be a rejection or not. But after I saw that I was selected, I was really excited, and it's mind-blowing what they're actually doing, like believing in small dreams, because for me, getting World Connect is more than getting a fund. Is a validation of my dream of what I'm doing. It means that fashion could actually make an impact, because for a very long time I felt probably fashion is not the way to develop, to get economic development, but them believing in the dream actually blew my mind. And it's amazing what we're doing right now, from training, because initially I had 2 sewing machines and I was training 1-2 people. So right now I could take up 12 people at once.
Well, thank you very much.
So much.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you.
And all the best as you continue to connect the world.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.